Hello there folks, back again for another video. In this one we're going to be having a little bit of a look ahead at what's coming out for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. Pre-orders are up this weekend, so looking at Saturday morning for the new wonderful plastic miniature for Shelob, which you can see there, alongside the new Gollum as well. You also got the wrapped up Frodo. Feet are big enough to be a hobbit, so that makes sense to me. And this all comes alongside the new Treachery of Gollum supplement. That'll be a little bit like the one that was done for the War of the Rohirrim. So if you are interested in playing out a series of linked scenarios and things like that, then that is going to be available for you to dive into and have some fun with. So this was the article that came out this week, which was talking to Jay Clare from the team behind the Middle-earth strategy battle game, although I believe he is moving on from that now. And he was talking about what's included as part of this set. So much like with the War of the Rohirrim book and previous supplements that have come out before as well, this one will look at charting Gollum's journey through the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So they have put in a series of, I think it's 9 scenarios, I think they said. Yes. Which will allow you to dive into and play through this adventure yourself. Yes, 9. You've got things like the Taming of Smeagol, the Dead Marshes, Escape Through the Sewers, the Path of Cirith Ungol, and Shelob's Lair, just to name a few. So the Taming of Smeagol pits Gollum against Frodo and Sam in a quickfire scenario where Gollum must try and wrest the ring from the 2 sleeping hobbits. Sounds really cool. Probably one of those ones that they play out on a small 1x1 table, I would think. You also have the Dead Marshes, which sees Smeagol attempting to lead Frodo and Sam across the bog and away from the spectres and the Nazgul above. Escape Through the Sewers, which I think is going to be a really fun one, which is where we're looking at Frodo, Sam and Smeagol getting out of Osgiliath after being let loose by Faramir. Be interested to see how that one plays out, running away from orcs as they're hunting you through the sewers. And then you also have the sort of linked to here, which is the Path of Cirith Ungol and Shelob's Lair, where you start to use 1x1 tiles that have been sort of like you design yourself, or I suppose you could just write them out on graph paper or something like that. And you have orcs or Frodo Baggins or whatever running through the lair of Shelob, trying to escape it, which I think sounds really fantastic. So it was really cool seeing. So, however, the player controlling Shelob has complete control of the game. At the start, only one tile is revealed, with Shelob hidden within her lair and moving secretly throughout the game. As the opposing player moves through the tunnels, more of them become revealed, twisting and winding their way towards the exit. Though if you're unlucky, you may also unveil a number of wed markers, or worse, Shelob herself, which sounds absolutely fantastic. And you can see that there is the one of the setups of the board and sort of how it looks when it's all sort of put together to create this sort of twisting labyrinth for you to try and make your way through. I think that's going to be really fun for people who like the hobby side of things. As is the way, these are all narrative scenarios that can be played individually, although of course you can link them together, so one scenario affects the outcome of the next one, which I think is always nice to see. So it's good to have that in the mix for those people who are looking to play some more Middle-earth on the tabletop. And yeah, all going to come in that new little softback Treachery of Gollum supplement. That'll be, reasonably cheap, about the same price as the previous entries, I would guess. Worth having a look at the model itself as well, though. So if we scroll back to the previews, we can have a look at them. Who cares about Horus Heresy, right? Ba-ba-da-ba. So this was the Path of Cirith Ungol set, which comes with Shelob and Gollum. This replaces the distinctly old and terrifying kit for Shelob. So you get a really nice version of her sneaking across the path, where you can see that she's maybe just stung Frodo in the centre there. There's Frodo himself, all wrapped up and ready to be taken away by your Deliveroo driver. And then you have a nice new sculpt for Gollum as well, which I think is really nice. And this one, I feel like it could work in a variety of different scenarios. Like, I think that works very nicely for the idea of Gollum in Cirith Ungol or Shelob's Lair, but it also works quite nicely for that moment where Gollum's about to leap down on Sam and Frodo as they get up to the the gates of Mount Doom to throw it into the crack. So you could do some really nice things with that, I think, if you were trying to do diorama work, which is always nice. And because it's a plastic miniature, nice and easy to control, which is cool and mess around with. So yeah, it's going to be a 48-page Middle-earth strategy battle game journal, and it's going to be up for pre-order this weekend, so look out for that one. Just because, might as well have a look at these as well. Also, the Footnotes of Dol Amroth coming back, which is quite nice. So, does it say what material they're made of? Forge World Resin. There we go. So they're going to be coming for you to dive back into, as well as the Cirith Ungol dice set, which would be quite nice for those people who like playing the bad guys. But yeah, so that's kind of what's happening at the very beginning of the year for the Middle-earth strategy battle game. But I also wanted to have a little bit of a chat about kind of where I see the game going in the near future as well. So a lot of people will know that it is 25 years of the Lord of the Rings, and this is the time when a lot of people are going to be looking back at those movies and getting stuck into them once again. And I think this sort of provides Games Workshop with a ripe opportunity to get stuck in and do something awesome. They've routinely missed a lot of the big celebratory moments for the Lord of the Rings over the years, especially the anniversaries of, I think, the Two Towers and the Return of the King. They didn't really do anything for those. They did stuff for Fellowship, but nothing beyond that. So I think this would be a really nice time for them to like try and do something to celebrate things, especially because the movies seem to now be more ingrained in the way that the game works and its mechanics and the way that army building works and that kind of thing. So I'm really hoping that we get to see something that will come out of this based on this celebration of the movies and the time that they've been out there. So maybe we'll get some scenarios, maybe we'll get some new miniatures or something, maybe we'll get a new Fellowship set, something like that. That would be pretty cool, although I doubt that's probably coming that way. Can anything replace that classic old metal one? I don't know, but there we go. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they do anything to celebrate that. The other thing that is coming down the pipeline, of course, is the Hunt for Gollum, and you'll have to forgive the adverts on the Empire website because, oh my god, I'm not sponsored by Premier Inn. But yes, the Hunt for Gollum, talking of Gollum, is going to be coming out as the new movie from Peter Jackson and the rest of the team over there at Weta and Warner Brothers and stuff. So it'll be absolutely fascinating to see what they do with this one. Now, obviously, the Hunt for Gollum is based on Aragorn being sent by Gandalf to find Gollum so that they can learn what he knows and keep him safe from the enemy and all that kind of thing. It involves a lot of Gollum being chased down by Aragorn, led through swamps and woods and everything until he's in the jail with Thranduil, and then from that point onwards, you've then got to work out sort of like where they go from there. Are they going to sort of see him then get captured and taken to Mount Doom and Mordor and all that kind of thing, and sort of where are they going to go with all of this? So it'll be really fascinating to see what direction they go in with this. It obviously means this is ripe for doing not only a new Aragorn based on the recast version of him, which is really cool. So obviously they're going to recast Aragorn from what we know. So you get a new sculpt for him, and lovely new sculpt for Gollum, maybe one for Thranduil, maybe one for Gandalf. It'd be interesting to see where they go with this. Do they use the same aesthetic as The Hobbit for things like Thranduil? Do they mess around with it? Do they go back to the classical look for them from the original Lord of the Rings movies? Which way do they go for that? And then, of course, you could bring that together with a new supplement, which could be called The Hunt for Gollum, and you could do a fun little thing with that one. Now, obviously, this is a movie that is a very long way away. I think they're only just starting to do the initial stuff and the casting and things. So there's plenty of time left for them to dive in and do some work on this. But of course, I would imagine that Games Workshop are working with them fairly early on in the process, if they're doing anything. So what do I think was going to come out for the rest of the year then? So obviously we have the Treachery of Gollum coming up, which should be really fascinating. As I say, it's these kind of like this 25th anniversary. I think it'd be really fascinating to see if we maybe get something that's focused on the Fellowship of the Ring, since it was the first one. Maybe we'll get some special models coming out, something celebratory to sort of mark that. I think that'd be really cool. I'd also like to see them do more with the plastics. I know we've been getting a lot of characters and monsters and things like that. Obviously, we've got, Shelob here and Gollum and stuff. And they seem to have dealt with all of the War of the Rohirrim stuff at this point. So it'd be really interesting to see if maybe we see them looking towards more of the plastic kits, more of the characters for the rest of the range, to see if they can sort of bring them up to speed with what's out there for Rohan and stuff that they did with the War of the Rohirrim box set. But I'd love to know what you think in the comments down below. Are you liking the state that the game is in at the moment? Do you think it's settled quite nicely with the new edition? Do you like the changes that they made to it? What do you think of the supplement, like the Treachery of Gollum, that's coming round the corner very, very soon? I'm definitely going to pick it up and have a look at it with you folks. And where do you think they're going to go? Do you think Games Workshop will celebrate something for the big anniversary for the Lord of the Rings, or do you think they will wait and do something later on down the line, as they always tend to do? We will have to wait and see. But yes, fun stuff hopefully lies ahead for Middle-earth strategy battle game on the tabletop. I will never not love this game. It's a wonderful system with beautiful models, and I can't wait to see what this one's like and where they go next. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And as always, I will say the most fun thing I have is delving into the comments with you folks and having a little bit of a chat about everything that you've been up to as well. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and we will have a chinwag in the comments. There is also a link down below to Firestorm Games if you're interested in using my affiliate link to maybe get your hands on some of this stuff. I always forget to mention it, but there it is. So thank you to them. And yeah, there's also a Ko-fi if you like what I do and you want to send a little bit of money my way to help me out with cups of coffee, pots of paint, or maybe mixing the two. Who knows? If it's all brown, I'll never know. So yes, thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll be diving back into more on the weekend. There is also going to be members videos coming out as well, so there'll be some little hobby updates and things like that. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll talk to folks very, very soon. Bye for now.